Today on PGTV News, we have the details on what the newest USDA report on Florida citrus says and what that means for the state.
And a local air show is having to switch gears to help stay afloat. Find out where you can reserve a camping spot. All that and more is ahead on PGTV News.
Welcome to PGTV News. I'm Tina Mann.
And I'm Stephen Barnes. Florida's citrus acreage has declined for yet another year. The state citrus acreage declined another 3% to 419,452 acres, or 11,149 fewer acres than just a year ago, according to the recently released annual survey from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Growers planted 7,885 acres of new citrus groves over the year, but that did not keep pace with the 19,034 acres lost since 2019. Commercial citrus acreage is the lowest in Florida since 1966, when the USDA adopted its current survey method, the report said. In another report recapping the 2019-2020 season, production of oranges, grapefruit, tangerines, and tangelos fell 5% from the previous season. The total crop value plunged 19% in 2018-2019. Florida citrus officials attribute the state's citrus declines since fall 2005 primarily to a disease called greening, which is a fatal bacterial disease that appeared in Florida nearly 15 years ago. Polk ranked third in the number of citrus trees, which reflects the fact that the area has a large number of older, less densely planted groves. An increase in retail sales earlier this year, fueled by health concerns related to COVID-19, has reduced orange juice inventories held by Florida juice processors, experts say. For the 2019-2020 season through August 1st, retail OJ sales in the U.S. market have increased 12.2%, according to the Florida Department of Citrus. Some of that increase can be attributed to a collapse of food service sales to restaurants, hotels, and other institutional buyers, but the retail sales surge has more than made up for food service declines. Lots of people staying home and drinking orange juice.
Yes, it definitely is, and it's always sad to kind of lose one of Florida's major crops, but
Yeah.
I mean, they're being replaced by developments and growth and population and other things.
And you see that's what's happening year after year. It seems like there's more and more decline due to the citrus greening, and it's becoming less profitable for farmers to farm that land when they can cash out and sell it to developers. And honestly, that kind of reflects the growth that's happening in Polk County. Is it is becoming more industrial and less agricultural.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing a lot more, big warehousing and transit corridors and things like that that are kind of changing the landscape of Polk County.
It'll be interesting to see in the next 20 years what it looks like.
Yeah.
Polk County Public Schools Superintendent Jacqueline Bird is, in fact, retiring in February. Rumors have been persistent since Bird's announcement in May that her retirement was a political maneuver to oust Billy Townsend from his school board seat. She later named Townsend as one of the several board members she said had driven her off. Trying to convince her to stay was a main tenet in William Allen's successful election campaign against Townsend. Allen had personally asked Bird to stay last week. Several school board meetings have already been held to organize the search to find Bird's replacement, and the Florida School Boards Association has been hired for $30,000 to help in that endeavor. The association is being paid in thirds, with the final payment to be made next year from funds obtained by the state settlement with BP following the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. When Bird announced her retirement in late May, she said some board members have either acted or attempted to act in ways that materially blur the respective roles and responsibilities of the school board, policy and budget, and superintendent operations. Moreover, the willful and increasing overreach has been unprecedented in my 32 years of experience in education, including 13 years in senior leadership positions. She went on to say that the disharmony has become a major roadblock to everyone's continued success. When asked at a July school board meeting by former Lakeland Mayor Gal Fields if one of those board members was Townsend, Bird nodded yes. Bird has said she is going to transition to a more private life in which she can spend more time with her husband and family. Her adult son and daughter live in Jacksonville. Bird's last day is currently scheduled for the end of February.
It's a difficult job to be in positions where you are very visible.
Right.
And certainly COVID-19 is not helping at all.
No, it certainly isn't. It's forced everybody's hands to make decisions they'd rather not make and to completely reevaluate the way everybody does pretty much everything.
Yeah, it certainly is a huge responsibility for the leaders of the school district and for others.
And she's done a good job, and she's going to be missed, and she's going to be hard to replace.
Yep, absolutely. Lake Wales High School is going online only for a few weeks after 2 cases of COVID-19 were confirmed last week. The charter school's principal, Donna Dunson, notified parents and staff on Saturday via email and social media. The announcement came after Polk County Public Schools identified 13 cases affecting 14 schools in just the first week of classes. Lake Wales High is part of a charter school district that operates independently of the Polk's public school district. It opened classes August 24th, the same day as Polk's public schools, but all classes were online for the first week, according to the school's website. On-campus instruction was set to begin Monday, but the new tentative start date is September 14th. Dunson's announcement did not mention any of the other Lake Wales district schools. Students on federal lunch program can pick up lunches each day from noon to 1 p.m. in front of the school. All sports and band activities will continue. For more information, visit lakewaleshigh.com.
And another one of those difficult decisions to make, but something that you kind of have to be flexible with because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's the big key here is to make sure that you've got a plan in place, and that's one of the things that all the schools here in Polk County have been working on so diligently over the last couple months is to figure out, okay, if it happens, how are we going to handle it? How are we going to notify parents? How are we going to schedule classes moving forward after that? So there's a lot of ifs that have to be planned for. It's a difficult and strenuous situation.
Definitely. Polk State College will have to cut $2 million from its budget as part of a statewide effort to reduce spending in the 2020-2021 state budget. Governor Ron DeSantis ordered state agencies to hold back 6% of their current budgets, President Angela Garcia Falconetti told the Polk County Commission last week. The order came as DeSantis is struggling to balance the state's $92.2 billion budget in the face of continuing tax revenue shortfalls brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. Falconetti told the commission she could not discuss details of proposed cuts, but that they most likely will come from cutting or laying off employees. About 80% of Polk State's annual budget goes to payroll, she said. The college employs 1,000 people, including 180 full-time faculty members. Polk State gets half of its revenue from the state and the other half through tuition and fees. Polk State administration had already implemented a $2.7 million budget cut, primarily through administrative cuts, such as restricting employee travel. None of those cuts affected staff levels. Polk State could face another revenue shortfall in tuition revenue as enrollment for its fall semester is running 8.5% below a year ago. That's better than many other state colleges who are reporting enrollment shortfalls of 10% to 20%.
It's difficult.
It is. I don't envy any of these people making these huge decisions.
Well, and it's kind of a trickle down. The money's not there at the state, so they've got to cut the budget, and the budgets keep getting cut as it moves down. And some of these schools, Dr. Falconetti mentioning, they've already had cuts. They've already been cutting back. You're to the point at this point where there's not a lot more that they can cut in their services and in their administrative costs. It then comes down to payroll. So hopefully tuition attendance goes up and they can continue to operate at a high level.
Hopefully.
Well, one of downtown Lakeland's historic landmarks has undergone a change of ownership. The Terrace Hotel has been purchased for $7.25 million by a group of 5 local investors that include former City Commissioner Edie Yates and her husband David Henderson, as well as their 2 sons. Their 5th non-family partner is John Greiger. The Terrace Hotel's exterior refurbishment was completed prior to the sale closing earlier this month. The new owners are now in the process of planning new interior refurbishments to bring the 88-room hotel up to modern standards while respecting the historic building's architectural details. The Terrace Hotel was built in 1924, overlooking Lake Mirror by Florida Collier Court Hotels. It was among the first hotels in the state to have air conditioning, seen as a novelty at the time. Its luxury accommodations attracted guests including Henry Ford, Frank Lloyd Wright, and Frank Sinatra, according to Historic Hotels of America. Yates said the property will become part of the Tapestry Collection by Hilton, a portfolio of upscale boutique hotels with a vibrant personality. It will retain the name The Terrace. The goal is to have renovations completed by April. The new owners do not expect to close the hotel during the refurbishment, though a brief 1 or 2 week closure might be necessary when the main public areas are redone.
The Terrace is definitely a beautiful hotel,
It's
a
beautiful,
historic
yes.
landmark that's nearly 100 years old now.
Yeah, and of course the exterior renovations that they've done have really spruced the place up and really kind of given it a facelift. It'll be exciting to see what they do the interior, because yes, the interior was definitely in need of some
bit of
loving
updates,
care. Yeah.
it was already beautiful to begin
Yeah.
with, so I can't wait to see what they do.
Yeah, it's nice to see, even in a time like this where you've got economic hardships and things like that, those that are able to make investments in the community
Right.
still making investments, and making sure that those places that are of heritage to the community
Right.
continue to be preserved.
Polk County residents searching for a change of scenery won't have to travel far from home during the pandemic. Sun and Fun has opened its more than 200-acre campus as a year-round campground for individuals and groups. It's an attempt to offset COVID-19's financial impacts on the Lakeland-based educational nonprofit by catering to a growing trend. The Sun and Fun's campus usually offers camping opportunities to its volunteers and in conjunction with large events. Sun and Fun made the decision to cancel its 46th Aerospace Expo in April because of the pandemic. The annual show provides approximately 80% of the organization's total operating budget. It also raises more than $2 million each year for the Aerospace Center for Excellence that serves more than 50,000 students a year by helping provide free resources to teach science, technology, engineering, and math. While not a traditional campsite, Sun and Fun's campus does offer electrical hookups, shower houses, and dump stations for RVs. There is limited Wi-Fi availability, but it lacks swimming pools and other common amenities like a playground. What it does have to offer is a number of wooded spots situated along creeks that crisscross the property, nature trails for hiking, and static outdoor aircraft displays for visitors to take in. In the few weeks, Sun and Fun has seen an increase in the number of individual campsites and monthly campers reserving slots on its property. Small groups of RV owners, 25 or less, and many are choosing to stay for a longer period of time, weeks or months versus a few nights. Camping and taking to the road in an RV are 2 of the latest lifestyle trends emerging from the COVID-19 pandemic. Sun and Fun is also renting out airplane hangar space in an attempt to bring in additional revenue to close the budgetary gaps. Sun and Fun is advertising a rate of $28 for dry campsites and $39.20 per night for RVs with electricity and water. More information can be found online at flysnf.org/aerospace-expo/camping.
Are you a camper?
I am not. Not unless I am in the mountains away from the mosquitoes.
I think my wife and I have had a camping tent in our garage for the last 12 years, 13 years.
Where it has remained.
Where it has remained. I think I set it up once in the yard just to make sure it didn't have any holes in it. So
I'm not the biggest fan of camping in Florida. There's too much heat, too many bugs, and
yeah, I think if I was going to do the camping scene, it would definitely be in an RV or a camper.
In the mountains.
Yeah, I've got to have my air conditioning.
Yes.
Okay.
And no bugs.
That's right.
Thanks for watching PGTV News. The board review is coming up. But first, a social worker turned caterer turned philanthropist is working to feed kids in need. Take a look.
I've always wanted to be someone who helped others. And I've always wanted to use the resources around me. Hey, everyone. Hey. Food changes lives. I absolutely believe that the way to the heart is through the stomach. Beginning Feed the Kiddos, I posted a flyer simply just stating what I was going to be doing and asking for donations. I began to receive thousands of donations.
Chanel is an amazing Black woman business owner. She's all over the city taking care of Chicago's kids and Chicago's homeless. I can't think of a thing that she wouldn't do for the kids to make sure that they're eating and make sure they have something healthy.
I have about 120 pounds of chicken in there.
It's called the secret sauce, made right here by the boss.
And we're gonna chop up veggies. This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then make mastacholi, and we're also gonna do cabbage because I love giving kids a healthy balance.
And she wants us to love food and come together through food. I want my daughter there so that she can see how she can help others.
I can definitely see them making a change. I can definitely see that. It's really beautiful.
Feed the kiddos! Food is delivered directly into the hands of children at schools, at their homes, or other distribution centers.
Today she came out for, our first round of deliveries to help us provide hot food for the rest of the week for people. So super excited about that.
Hey, how are you? Thank you. You're welcome.
And that's awesome. We'll see you again next week.
See you later. Thank you. We've been killing it in the kitchen with the volunteers. This is the moment that we're waiting for. Bye. Thank you. Bye. And then we have barbecue chicken in this bag with some pasta. It's really good. And that right there is creating a whole wave of energy in your community to be a change maker and a leader. And if we just put our hearts in a place of kindness, then we will figure out how to do that every day.
It's a very important time for the Census Bureau.
What kinds of maps do you make?
We make all kinds of maps.
Awesome.
It's a project we're working on right now. No one has seen it yet.
Mission Census!
That's all correct. You made it just in time. Welcome to Mission Census, a virtual field trip with the U.S. Census Bureau.
Hi everyone, I'm Kayla.
And I'm Royce.
Welcome to the bonus edition of Mission Census.
Today, we're looking back at our time gathering data about the census.
and breaking down some of our favorite moments. We learned a lot.
And if you're like us, you might need a little help with the complicated stuff. So come on, here we go.
I'm Steve Dillingham.
And I'm Jennifer Kim.
I'm so glad you could join us today on a very special quest to gather data and information about the 2020 census.
We'll explore what the census is, how data is collected and used, and how the census shapes your future.
Data is another word for facts that are usually represented by numbers. Like, if I know I'm visiting my grandma and we check to see what the average temperature is where she lives, that can help me decide what kinds of clothes to pack. Data, or facts and statistics about the weather, can help me plan for my trip.
Is everyone ready?
Yeah! Great. Let's find out about our two teams. Team Shape Your Future.
I'm Kayla, and I'm in 6th grade.
And I'm Elijah, and I'm in 12th grade.
Welcome, Kayla and Elijah. Team Shape Your Future. And let's meet Team Everyone Counts.
I'm Annalise, and I'm in 10th grade.
And I'm Royce, and I'm in 4th grade.
Okay, Annalise, Royce, Team Everyone Counts, welcome. And don't forget, all of you are part of the mission too. Pay close attention because there's a special quiz at the end. Okay, I'll leave you all to it. Good luck with your mission.
Hey, we're back. Keep an eye out for pop-up definitions during the video.
Yeah, they will help you understand some of the words and phrases you may not know.
And there might be some important information in there for the quiz.
Okay, gather around. Before we set off on our mission, can anyone tell me what the census is?
A count of all the people in the United States?
That's right. The count is mandated by the Constitution, and we refer to it as the decennial census because it's completed every 10 years.
That's a lot of people. How do you count all of them?
That's a great question. Each home in the country receives an invitation to respond to the census online, by phone, or by mail.
Do you have to fill it out?
Yes. Census participation is required by law, and everyone who works here takes an oath to keep responses secret. We use the data collected, but all the information is never released.
Royce, do you know what Jennifer meant by an oath?
Yeah, I wondered that too, so we looked it up at home. It means when someone is hired by the census, they make a promise that they will never share information collected.
Whoa! Like an oath you take in court. And if you break that promise, you can get in big trouble.
Big trouble.
Any other questions?
I have one. What do you do with all the information from the census?
You'll explore more about that on your mission, but the count helps determine how many seats each state will have in the House of Representatives.
The House of Representatives is part of Congress. Each state elects members of the House of Representatives, and how many they get is based on how many people live there. Congress works together in our nation's capital to make laws.
Yeah, like when I have a birthday party and we decide on how many pizzas to get. Once we know how many people are coming. More people mean more pizzas. More people in the state mean more people in the House of Representatives.
The count helps determine how many seats each state will have in the House of Representatives, and decisions about how money is spent in communities for schools, roads, hospitals, and other resources.
Wow, that is an important job. How do you make sure everyone gets counted?
Sounds like a big job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, big one.
Well, when the adults in your home fill out the census, they should count everyone who lives with you, including friends and family and anyone who is renting space in the home. Where there are more people, there are more needs. So if anyone is missed, communities can miss out on money for important resources you rely on every day, like school lunches, after-school programs, and classroom technology. So make sure you encourage the adults in your home to fill it out. How many of you like to go to the library?
I do. I like to go to the library to study.
Me and my family go there every week.
That's great. Libraries are awesome neighborhood resources that provide access to books as well as enrichment programs, story times, and classes. You know, without an accurate count from the census, libraries might not get the money they need to operate and serve the community. That's just one example of how census data can be used.
Wow, I've never thought about that before.
See, it really does shape your future. Now that you know more about the 2020 census and why it's important, I think you're prepared to go forth on your missions.
Let's do it!
Yeah. Team Shape Your Future. Seek out members of our data visualization team to learn all about how numbers come to life for everyone to see. And Team Everyone Counts. Use your sense of direction to locate the geography team to find out more about how they created the Statistics in Schools maps. Are you all ready?
Yeah! You're going down, Kayla. Nah, Elijah and I have got this.
Okay, we'll meet up again with Director Dillingham in about 10 minutes. Gather around. On the count of 3, we'll shout Mission Census.
1, 2, 3, Mission Census!
Good luck, guys!
Getting a complete count of children in the decennial census is important for school funding and planning. The Census Bureau estimates 1.5 million children under 10 years old were not counted in the 2010 census.
Do you remember our first group photo? This is it. Smiles all around, even though we were all nervous.
Who could have imagined that our first weekend together would soon turn into a lifetime of memories?
You're an amazing young man. Your brothers and sisters really look up to you. They're a big brother.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
You know, it took 20 years, and I got my third child, who was 17 at the time.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
I ain't never felt so much love before in my life.
Welcome to the Board Review with news about your county government. I'm your host, Tricia Pichette. Today you'll learn about the County Commission actions from the September 1st board meeting. The Construction Manager at Risk Guaranteed Maximum Price Amendment with Wharton Smith, Inc. for the Northeast Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility Clarifier Addition was approved Tuesday. It's expected to cost about $12.1 million. The project will include the construction of 2 new 100-foot circular clarifiers and related piping, upgrades, and modifications. These clarifiers are a necessary redundancy to the facility for the expansion from 6 million gallons a day to 9 million gallons a day. Amendment 1 to the Consulting Service Agreement with Dewberry Engineers, Inc. for the County Road 557 widening project was approved by the board Tuesday, along with a joint project agreement from the City of Lake Alfred for the design of future utility relocations. The approved amendment, which will include final design, permitting, and other services, is expected to cost about $3 million. The design for the utility relocation with Lake Alfred will cost about $60,000. Improvements along Dunson Road will be able to happen following the board's approval of a transportation infrastructure improvement agreement between Racetrack Petroleum, Inc. and the county. The project, which will widen Dunson Road at US 27, is part of the company's plans to develop a convenience store and gas station at the northeast corner. The agreement will create an eastbound through lane so that a right turn lane from Dunson onto US 27 can be built. The project will cost about $112,000. The board also held several public hearings on a variety of items. These items up for consideration included: the board approved the capital improvements element and adopted the 5-year schedule of capital improvements to reflect the timing and funding of capital projects to meet or maintain adopted level of service standards for certain public facilities, reference the Transportation Improvement Program 5-year study, and the adopted Polk County School Board 5-year work plan. An amendment to the Land Development Code regarding model homes was approved by the board. The amendment removes the limitation on the number of model homes permitted in a development and addresses temporary parking facilities for the homes and temporary sales offices. The board continued the public hearing for the Polk County government's retiree insurance benefits ordinance until its November 3rd meeting. Well, that wraps up this edition of the Board Review. To keep current with programs and progress in the county, visit us online at polk-county.net or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We encourage you to watch the next scheduled board meeting at 9 a.m. Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. I'm Tricia Pichette, and thanks for watching.